Hello and welcome to Brimwood Farm. There's a beautiful blue sky outside, but it's perishingly cold, so we're in the lean-to. And today we're going to be talking about these, propagating succulents. So if you're a smallholder or a homesteader, an urban gardener, then you'll know that we're always trying to find ways of bringing in a little bit of extra cash, whether that's a few cents and pennies or some pounds and dollars, or even maybe a bit more significant amount. Now, particularly if you're on an urban plot, then during the winter it can be quite quiet because your hens have probably stopped laying and they've reduced their number. There's no raw veg on the go to sell, and certainly in smaller spaces there's no room for livestock like cows and sheep and pigs and things like that, which is why I tend to turn to household plants and indoor plants. Because it's something to do and take my mind off the horrible dull of winter, and two, it's something productive for the coming season. And in my heart, although I am a homesteader, I'm also a massive gardener. I won't be without my ornamental flower beds and my house plants. Now, one thing I like to do during the winter is propagate succulents, because come the later season, when I'm selling chickens at local farmers markets, poultry sales and things like that, I like to take some plants with me because then I can sell a couple of pullets to somebody, and if I can sell them a tray of plants, maybe some herbs and some succulents and things like that, then that is a big bonus. So let's crack on and I will show you how I personally propagate my succulents. So today we're going to start with something super easy and that you'll probably all recognise, and this is that money tree. Now, goodness only knows it doesn't produce money, but I guess if you're making little babies out of it and selling them on, then in some ways the money tree is actually making you a little bit of money. Now, this is very much like many of those fat little succulents. So you have these fat little leaves, and each of these leaves can be turned into a baby. And actually, if you look down at the base, you can see this was the original leaf that I took as a cutting, this here, and then all of these have grown off it. So we've got 3 stems that have come off it and this tiny little one at the side here. So this was the original leaf. Now sometimes that stays because it's rooted, and sometimes it just withers away after your main plant starts to grow out. And I should say this plant is about 18 months old. So it's not even that older plant, and you could sell them much, much smaller than this. I mean, you could sell them at this sort of height. So, you know, if this was the base and this was the plant, you could sell them at that sort of height in a nice pot with some soil around the bottom and some gravel around the bottom rather, and it would be perfectly acceptable. This, you know, would go for way more than $2. This is probably a $5-6 plant. Just compare it with your local supermarkets and gift stores and see what they're selling it for, and just undercut them a little bit is what I normally do. So this process of taking succulents cuttings is super easy, and you need a special tool, and it is called your fingers. You don't really need anything very, very special. You actually don't want to cut because then you can make a wound that's not good enough. So what we'll do here is we'll just take this and you literally just twist it a little bit and pull it off. And we have a cutting. That is our cutting. That's all you need to do. Let's do another one. I like to take them off near the base so I don't ruin the kind of the look of the plant. Let's do this one here. So again, perfect. So once you've got your cuttings, you need to put them in the a spot to heal. So the thing with succulents is you don't want to shove them straight into the soil, because what happens is this is very fleshy and it has a lot of moisture in here. So you actually need this to create a scab or a heel, because if you push this straight into soil, water, any moisture will go straight up into it. You'll get rot, and as soon as this end has rotted, it will spread and it will just die immediately. So what I do is I lie them either in a completely empty plastic pot, like one of those saucers you get for plants, or I put them into gravel. And this is what I normally do. So this sits in my porch, which is not heated. It's kind of a semi-warm. It gets the evening sunshine, so it heats up a little bit, but it's not mega warm. And then I literally just lie them on the surface. So they just get laid on the surface until they start to show signs of root. I'm going to turn that over actually so it's got the green side up. Probably doesn't matter, but there we go. And you can see these will scab over in the next week, and then they grow very, very quickly. So these are obviously from the money plant. This is from an echeveria, and you can see here we already have roots. So actually I'm going to move this one across to my little nursery pen. So literally just leave them alone, don't water them. This one's got some roots on as well. And then move them on into a nursery pen. Now I should say that this is a nursery tray, not a pen. I'm obviously thinking of chickens. And you can see here that many of these have got roots. And these are the two little echeveria cuttings that I just took that have rooted. So we'll just pop those down onto the soil. And I don't dig them into the soil. I literally just lay them on the top of the soil. Now this compost is a seed compost, so it's very low in fertility because I don't want to give them tons of fertility just yet. I want to wait until they're bedded in. It isn't mixed with anything as yet. You can add them straight into individual pots with a good mixed low fertility soil and gravel and sand so it's well draining. But I like to grow them on in this first, and then once they have started putting on some decent root growth and some leaves, so you can see here this is from the money tree, although it's a funny one because it's got a little leaf look, but it hasn't actually got any root. So we're just going to leave that. But once they have rooted themselves into this and made a nice little stash of roots and are holding some soil together, then I lift them out and they go into individual pots. But you can see there's lots of little babies coming on here, all different varieties. These are some aloes. They root slightly differently, and you need to, rather than twist them off, you need to cut them off, and then they produce a sort of a single big root rather than these little strandy roots. So that's the nursery tray. I mist it with water maybe once every couple of days, and then as I say, as soon as these have rooted into the soil and created a little sort of area for themselves, then they get moved on. And then finally, I pop them on into a pot that's actually got some decent soil in, and they grow. So these are, how old are these? These are possibly 4 or 5 months old. So you can see the amount of growth they put on. And these actually, once they're potted up into, a nice little clay pot with some gravel, these would actually be perfect size for taking to a sale. So as comparison, here's the mother plant. You can see how big this one is, and these are the smaller ones. So I could sell these at a couple of dollars, but I'm just going to grow them on for now until I've got more plants for the season. So it really is that super easy. You can see again, in this case, the old leaves have shrivelled. So this was the original cutting, and it's shriveled away now, and you've got all this new growth coming out. And it really is that super simple. There's no magic trick or magic formula. You just take those little cuttings, leave them on a tray and wait for the roots to appear. So that means there's no faffing around like there is with taking cuttings of other plants, where you have to take the leaves off to leaf nodes, and then you have to put the rooting powder on, put them into soil and make sure that soil isn't too dry or too wet. It's just the right moisture level. There's none of that. They're very, very difficult to kill, these little baby succulents, and they're very easy to grow, and they make great little gifts for people to buy, whether you're selling them at sale or a garden gate or even online, for a couple of dollars or a couple of pounds here and there. People don't really blink an eyelid at parting with that, but actually that can add up and bring in quite a lot of extra cash to your homestead. Now, if you're a forgetful person or a super busy person, or both, like I am, succulents are also mega easy, because you can really forget about them for several weeks and not do anything, and then you'll just turn around one day and you'll notice there are little roots. And it's very hard to kill, as I say. You can normally bring a succulent back even when it's right on the brink by just giving it a good little bit of water and a feed. So if you like the video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe for future videos. If you are on Facebook, please come over, because I'd love to have you on the Brimwood Farm community group page, and we chat on there throughout the week about chickens and veg and growing and all sorts of stuff. So come on over if you are on Facebook. But for now, have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.